How's it going, guys, and welcome back. My name is Ariel, and if you don't know, this is my channel, Sario T. It's been an interesting week. I'm here in the great state of Texas. It's been pretty good. The race sucks, but everybody knows that already. It baffles me in reality because a few years ago when I started trucking, I was doing loads out of California heading down to New Jersey and Florida, and they were going for like $9,000-$10,000. As you know, I work for Landstar, so they do take 35% of the top. All right. Well, not the top. After fuel charges, basically. So after fuel charges, they take 35%, and it was good. It was like $10,000 heading back to New Jersey, or $9,000 heading back to Florida. You could just head back out because the load was worth it just going inside. Even if you were going down to Miami and you're just heading back up to get a better load out of Jackson or Savannah, Georgia. But right now the rate sucks. $2.30 a mile. Short loads, they're still paying pretty good, but the problem is there's too many people going after them, and I hate just sitting there and just trying to get a load and fighting with everybody else just to get that single load. And by the end of the week, you only done like 2 loads, which it doesn't really add up as much. If you're doing like 2 loads worth $2,500 each, or that's 5 or 2 or 3, taking 2-3 days to do each load, that's kind of worth it. But there are few too many. The few too many, I think that's the saying, whatever it is. And it sucks pretty much. All the contract work, like the dedicated routes, are not really worth it that much. There's a few loads there for like going like $5,000 a week with 2,200 miles per week around there, but it's up to 45,000 pounds. So, and they're telling you where to go. Basically, you don't have a choice anymore. With the Walmart account, it's not a problem because you know where you're going. It's Walmart, and every time they give you like a heavy load, it's not really going anywhere but back to the warehouse. And those loads are very like 100 miles away or something like that, and you don't go through scales whatsoever, so you're good. But with all these other shippers and stuff like that, and like they send you ways, and then you have to run like very low on fuel just to be able to actually achieve those loads in case you go through a scale or something. And I don't like running low on fuel just to be able to do the loads. I used to do that when I was with Swift. They would give me like very heavy loads, and then I would have to just go like fill up 50 gallons at a time, because I couldn't go above 50 gallons at a time, because otherwise I would have been overweight, and if I go through a scale, that means I would have been screwed and paying that weight ticket myself, because as a truck driver, you're responsible for the weight of your truck. Okay, so if you're new and you don't know about trucking, this is the first time you're hearing from me. Basically, if you weigh your trucks and it's too heavy, it's on you as a driver. You're responsible to making sure that truck is fully compliant with the Department of Transportation's and state's weight limits. And it's not worth doing those loads. It's just too many risks, and $5,000, 2,200 miles, and if you go up mountains, down mountains, that means you're screwed because your fuel mileage is gone there. With the Walmart accounts, yeah, it was a lot of mountains up and down Pennsylvania and Maryland and all over New York, but you were only doing like 1,800 miles a week, 2,000 miles a week, and it was worth it. So those were worth it. Unfortunately, right now, due to the way the freight is working right now, it's not possible. Back in 2021, even early 2022, we had the problem that we have way too many loads. No, that's actually probably 2020, around there. We had too many loads, few drivers, and now we have that reverse. We have too many drivers and not enough loads. So now you got people undercutting you to get the loads and doing it for way cheaper. Okay, so for example, right, about 3-4 weeks ago, I was doing a load, and I already got there at the shipper. I'm waiting for it, yada yada yada, and then they tell me, oh well, we can't load you right now because the load might have been given to another driver. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Because I see like this 15 loads. I was like, okay, let me just go through the app, and like I was counting the loads from the same location that I was picking up, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 10. There was 15 loads coming from the same location, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because why my load is being canceled when there's 15 other loads in there from the same shipper? It can't be possible, So I was there, and I was talking to the, hey, what's going on? I thank God that the guy that I was working on, he already had another load there, and he was just waiting for confirmation, and he was able to get me that load for that same date. So, well, for the next date technically, but I had the load at least, and I was already booked, and I know it was gonna be mine. I was like, yo, what's going on with this load? Because there's like 15 loads. So it's basically like every single broker reposting the same load. So when I see 50,000, 60,000 loads on the board on any load right now, that's telling me that at least 30%, maybe more than 30% of those loads that are there, I just being breaking the same load. So that's absurd. It shows a bad representation of what's actually in the market, and it makes drivers wonder that why there's so many loads and yet they can't even get a decent paying load. My minimum load used to be like 320. That was my first load, and then like 3, then 270. I'm not trying to do anything under $2 at this moment, because after Landstar, that means it's basically $2. Geez, math, come on, area. 130. That's like 130 a mile. If it's $2 a mile, it's 65 cents. It's 130, right? Might be a little more here and there because of fuel surcharge. Might be a little more, might be a little less. So I started. That's why I'm not doing $2 a mile, because it's not really that worth it for me right now. I mean, if I had my own trailer and I had my own authority, that would have been different. $2 a mile is more than enough, right? Because my fuel cents mileage cost is very low. I mean, probably around the 50-60 cents my my bills and stuff, right? So anything above that is technically profit. But you have to do taxes and mechanic work and all that. Well, I guess it's probably, let's just say, around 75 cents to 80 cents after everything. So that I owe and stuff. My truck is paid off. Okay, so it might be a little higher because I put a new roof on the house. I got some credit card payments that I have to pay and stuff like that. I got myself out of debt, and I got myself back into debt, to even more debt than I was before. Unfortunately, right after that, everything goes downhill, So I'm working with that right now. The goal is to get out of all of this debt. I'm hoping this year. But if the market keeps coming down, I don't think it's going to be able to. Because I still got the IRS that I need to pay. And we don't know what's coming down the line, basically. All of this shipment from China and South America and the Middle East and stuff like that, and the UK, they all have come down. Like, there's barely anything coming in. And people don't notice this. Like, the average person outside of the trucking business does not understand that a lot of the freight that used to be coming in is not coming in anymore. They're all blinded. And now you got OPEC, which is basically like the biggest coalition of countries that have like oil, you know, and that's basically the Middle East. You got China, and you got Russia, and Latin America. They're all like there together, and they just said they're cutting like 1.5 million barrels a week, which it sucks. Which means that right now diesel prices have come down and fuel prices have come down, but once this hits the market, diesel and fuel are going to go back up, and inflation is going to go back up again, and people do not noticing this, that this is happening. It's very troublesome because we don't know what's going to happen in these few years. People don't understand that, like, this build back better thing, right? It's gonna put us into debt for the first 10 years, even if it works with a new chip act and stuff like that. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. For now, it's just a pipe dream, right? But the first 10 years of this thing, we are going into debt. It's not like it's basically it's basic economics. You know, you cannot print money and give money away without expecting something to happen, right? We just had the first inflation, and I think we hit like 9.6 or something like that, or 6.9. I forgot what it was. But that's just the first wave. There's another wave coming, and we don't know if it's gonna hit this year or 2024. And I just heard that the Biden administration is trying to put now more laws for emissions out there, so we don't know what's going to happen with that, so we will see. Hopefully it'll get backtracked, because it makes no sense. Why would you put in emissions laws that is going to infringe on the economy of the country when everything is going bad right now? So it makes no sense as to why would you put emissions restrictions right now when everything is going down. Instead of cutting emissions, I mean, I'm not saying increase emissions, but I mean, like, open up the oil wells, right? They need to open up the oil wells and start pumping. If OPEC is gonna stop producing 1.5 million barrels a week, right? That means there's gonna be a shortage in the market. That means that it needs to be filled by someone, and the United States can fill it, but our administration is not letting us do that. So we will see what's gonna happen with that. So hopefully the market turns around. That's the best that we can hope right now, is just for things to turn around, because otherwise trucking is gonna get real bad. Like, we already had companies that went belly up. That company with the big F, like all the drivers, a lot of small companies are going down. But that just due to the freight. The freight is very low, and if you don't have your margins and your expenses in check, a lot of companies are going to go down. And the only companies that can survive this are the big companies like Swift, JB Hunt. You got Uber now that is Amazon is taking everything. You got UPS, FedEx. Let's say JB Hunt, Schneider. All of these companies, they're gonna be perfectly fine, because they don't really have. They can run in cheap. They can run to the cents. You know. They don't care if they only make 5-10 cents a mile after they pay their drivers, because they have so much volume that they can do that it doesn't matter, you know. So we'll see. I'm here in Texas, heading over to Kentucky, and then Georgia, and then back to Jersey. You know, cutting it close there with the time, just barely there. Hopefully the traffic is fine, so I had to stop in Texas because the traffic is just insane at this time. It's like I've been here, how long I've been here right now? I've been here an hour and 20 minutes. So around 3:30, traffic got so bad around here. I'm in 20 heading by Houston and Fort Worth. And traffic got so bad that I was like, I got enough time to do this load. I don't need to be in a rush. I still got 2.5 days to finish it up. It's no point for me to be sitting in traffic wasting my hours just to be able to get another 100 miles what I wanted to stop at. So I stopped here so early in the morning I can just leave and don't have to worry about the Fort Worth and Dallas traffic. This is one of the things, if you're new, you better take Los Angeles, San Diego, any big city in Texas, any big city in Georgia, New Jersey, New York. Just leave early in the morning. If you can help it, just leave early. You'll thank me because you don't have to deal with the traffic that you have to deal with when you do that. All right, guys. Thank you for coming. If you're new here, please subscribe, comment, like, and see you in the next one.